And so it is necessary for us to look at things in the right way, for our own good, not for any other person, for our own good. The books are very much there, but it has got its misleading facts. There are things that if you focus too deep on it, that is why there is no clear guide or protection that comes along with these writings. They get lost along the way. With the war, because of war, you see people missing the word. You see it being decay. You know, it's not like holy and miraculously protected, untouchable by anything. You know, God just keeping some protection on it. No, it's a vulnerable book. Some of Qurans get burned by. I can put fire on it and burn it. You can put fire on the Bible and burn it. It is vulnerable. But if it is from God and it's eternal and forever, it won't be vulnerable. It's going to be guarded by God himself, not men. A man cannot guide God. It is God who guides men. You know? So what kind of God are we presenting? And since we are not presenting the right God, we tend to have issues. We tend to have problems. Problems that I face, problems that you face. You may not admit yours, I admit mine. And I've transformed myself on that grounds, you know, to move on. And I intend to move on, whether in death or not in death. But I don't make commitment that I cannot keep. I don't make promises I can't keep. Even if I can keep it, then I have to do it practically to keep it. How do I keep it practically? Putting it into act. And that is more marriage. That is more solid. That is more provable, or more is better than words. Just saying it and convincing people just because you can't get their mind or somebody to believe in what you're saying, so you follow through and say, yes, I'm going to do just that, because if I say it, I'll get what I want. Say it. It's a different thing. You have to back it with action. It is there in the Bible also, that back your words, back it with action. He said words without what? Action is meaningless. It's vanity. You know, you have to back it with works. Even if you have faith and you have no works, your faith is meaningless. You need faith, you need works to work together. So works is very, 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 very valuable. In that respect, if you come and say, okay, since I have married or I've spoken to that person and married that person, that means my life is guaranteed. You are deceiving yourself. You know you are deceiving yourself. You can't meet it. And God knows the future, that this is what happens, that people fall into that situation where they can meet that commandment, they can't follow through. So why would he even bother himself to make a law of that nature? He won't do that. You know, he won't do that. So on that grounds, I want to just suggest that, you see, if Allah is a living God and Jehovah is a living God, there isn't a problem there. But when we put down the only evidence and facts we have got, the written words in there, and we analyze that who we think God is, then we sort of realize that God is not being God. And that is what I normally have found myself strangely, very openly sort of being loudly expressed, that God must be God. Now, I may not be admittedly being the one saying it, but there's something that came from inside me, that spoke, or that speaks out and say that, let God be God, let man be man, let God be God. Now, whether God said it himself or made me say it, I don't know. All I know is that it's what I heard, what I spoke, what I'm saying. This is what I know. The more things the more I will know, is what I do practically in my life and the experiences I have. What comes to my life. If good things come to my life, I know. If bad things come to my life, I know. And I know the bad things that have come to my life. And I don't hide that. I share it, I openly discuss it with everybody. That's how I do here in my personal account. You can listen to the personal account and what I'm trying to point out about the issues of life. That experiences, that possible experiences that are unexplainable. It's something that you can't even evidently prove or show. But I have to use words to describe it. I try to describe it. I try to point it out. And it will be a vision and a dream and a joke to somebody that may listen. But truthfully, it is really in its place. It's real experience that I go through, that I went through. So let us be very careful about these books. What I'm saying here, it is a trap. It traps us into a situation that we cannot meet our own natural given life requirements. It's there to teach us not to be abusing ourselves, to be very self-controlled. But I say no, it is not. It's not completely the guide to let us achieve that. But I want you to be an individual, a strong person on your own. I chose the path of realizing that to be such successful or individual, which my characteristics are successful, my molded body, sense of ability of living life is in place and is accurate and is solid. I realize that this has been my problem. The books are my focus, the things I listen to, the things that I may embrace, and how I embrace it. I embraced it as if it was coming from the living God. But since it wasn't coming from the true source of life, I was then having problems. Because the good mechanic would definitely be able to resolve the issue on whatever that the car's problem is. But since it's not a good mechanic, pretending to be the good mechanic, the issue will not be resolved. That is what we have here. That is what our faith and religion and culture is about. Along the way, there has been mistakes. Along the way, something has not gone right. Along the way, the old mindset is still hanging over us. We gradually believe in it. We may have some ancestral help, but ancestral help is to give us some awareness of some existence, is to give us some knowledge of how to move forward, not for us to dwell on it and accept it as it is. Because if it was better, then there is no need for any progression or for any development. But we develop because it is necessary to move out of that old-fashioned way or old writings. Even the writings are improving. We cannot read the old letters or how they wrote things. We have to write it and say this is more better to us than that time. Things change. So it is necessary for us to see things in the right way, mold things right, embrace what needs to be embraced, not what is not necessary for us to embrace. So as I said, we go back to the Genesis, continue from Genesis 12. Okay, Genesis 12. When we sort of look at what the Bible says regarding Noah and all that, and the family settling in the east and all that. If you go through to 12, Abraham, the generation have come from Noah and now fallen to Abraham. This is where Abraham was being sort of revealed in the picture, and what the promise he had from God. That's the very faith he had. Abraham is the very person seen to be the source of the faith of today, or the generation by which the Arabs, those in the Arabian Peninsula, including the Islamic worships and all the worshippers, and the Christians are also, blending with it, and the Jewish people has been the father of all. That he actually generated. Noah is more considered than Abraham.